I'm Ruthie Burst, and welcome to Fair St. Louis on YouTube, the #1 online source for all things Fair St. Louis. Hi everyone, I'm Ruthie Burst, and welcome to Fair St. Louis on YouTube, the #1 online source for all things Fair St. Louis. The Fair St. Louis team is committed to providing the information you need to get safely to and from the fair for this year's festivities in Forest Park on July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Wherever your trip originates, and whether you choose to take the Metrolink, bike, or drive to the fair, the Fair St. Louis team is committed to making sure you have a clear route to make your trip as smooth as possible to enjoy America's biggest birthday party. Today we're going to take a look at the transportation plan for Fair St. Louis. With me is Ed Mayuga, who is the Fair St. Louis Chairman of the Transportation Committee. Ed, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Ruthie. Thank you for having me.
What can you tell us about the transportation plan for Fair St. Louis?
Oh, transportation to Fair St. Louis is going to be very fast and efficient this year, just as it was last year. Last year, I also worked on the transportation plan. I am the transportation chairman for Fair St. Louis for the second year, and we really put in a lot of effort. We put in thousands of hours into figuring out how people get to the park and what the most efficient way for them to not only get to the park, but also park within the park and then leave after the fireworks or after the entertainment. So parking is not going to be an issue, and more importantly, it's going to be very easy to get there from whatever direction you're coming from in St. Louis.
So tell us about the parking. Where will it be? How much will it cost?
Well, parking this year is actually less expensive than last year. Last year, $30, it was a little bit pricey, especially for a free event. And, in working with our various partners, as well as other institutions within the park, we determined that $20 would be the fee. So it's $20 no matter where you park within the Fair St. Louis lot within the park. There is no street parking. So if you are arriving at the park, you will have to use one of our lots. And we take cash only, so it'd be $20 cash, but there's a variety of options. And if you should happen to park at, say, Central Fields or the Muni Opera, you would actually take a free shuttle. We have free shuttles within the park. For the free options, we have parking at St. Louis Community College. We have parking at Washington University, and you can either walk in or from St. Louis Community College, you can walk to the planetarium and take a free shuttle that arrives every 20 minutes to the boathouse. So there are a variety of options.
And if people plan to drive to Fair St. Louis, how early do you recommend that they arrive to find a parking spot that's close?
That is a great question, Ruthie. What we found last year is that traffic really started to pick up after about 4 o'clock. Obviously, the Fair St. Louis, the gates open at 12 noon, and on Saturday, July 4th, we have the parade. So we have a lot of people that show up for the parade early in the morning because that starts at 9:45 and then stay throughout the day. I think that staying all day is really a long day, especially if you have little children, but it's a wonderful time for the family. I recommend that if you are going to see the main stage acts such as Blondie, I would try to get there at least an hour early because even if you decide to go to the free parking or paid parking, it is going to take you some time to get to the actual fair footprint. So, as we recommended last year, plan your trip, plan ahead, and make sure that you leave yourself enough time so you don't miss anything.
And what are the most efficient transportation routes?
Most efficient transportation routes, if you're driving, are to take I-64 to Hampton on the south, or if you're coming from the north, you could take Forest Park Parkway to Union Avenue. So we only have 2 entrances open for vehicular traffic, Union in the north and Hampton on the south. If you want to take public transportation, we are working very closely with Metro Transit. So Metrolink will be open, and the Bolivar Station is the central connection between the various lines. I just want to caution fairgoers that may have taken it last year. The Bolivar Station is under construction, so there might be some long lines, especially after the fireworks, so people should prepare for that. But there are other Metro stations. There's one on Skinker, and there's one in the Central West End, but that requires a little bit of walking. But, you know, however you decide to get to the fair, whether you decide to take public transportation, you could also bicycle or drive, we want to make it as easy as possible so you can spend more time actually enjoying the festivities.
And where's the best place to go to find more detailed maps and route information?
Yes, we have spent a lot of time and energy working on the Fair St. Louis transportation page at fairstlouis.org. If you go to our website, there is a page that is dedicated to transportation. It will include information on taking Metro. If you want to bring a bike, it will show you where the bike valets are and where you can self-park. Again, there is no street parking within the park, otherwise you will get towed. And if you are bicycling or walking, we ask that you stick to the bike paths and not on the streets, because we have a lot of buses coming through. At our peak times, we have almost 100 buses running through the park trying to get people to the various locations. So all of that is available at fairstlouis.org on the transportation page. And for the park neighbors, the people that live in the Central West End and in Dogtown that are interested in street closures, we also have a specific page there dedicated to the various neighborhoods so they can answer those questions as well.
Well, Ed, thank you so much for joining us today and filling us in on this very important information about transportation.
Thank you very much, Ruthie. I appreciate it.
And as Ed said, for more information, go to www.fairstlouis.org, and don't forget to use the FairSTL hashtag on social media.